What is up? Today we want to share some highlights with you from SyncFest. We had a session with music supervisors Jennifer Smith and Brian Vickers. It was awesome. Check it out.
Starting right in with AI.
Yeah, I saw that. I think that it's a very good conversation to have. You're probably going to get a different answer depending on who you ask. My thoughts of it are a little different from some of my peers, which is I am randomly anti AI. That's because I understand how that can change jobs for a lot of people. The idea of what it can do creatively is amazing. I think it's a good tool. I just wish that we can get to a place legally where we are able to police it better so that we don't have situations of copyright infringement, etc. And of course, being on the studio side, you don't want to get to a point where studios say, you know what, it's easier and cheaper to get AI. So let's just get AI and wipe out this entire department. It is a very interesting time. I just hope that as creators, you're not discouraged by that. You're not upset by that. Keep doing your thing. Keep pushing ahead, because the sound that you make as a human person is always going to be different from something that's manufactured.
Music has always been pro-technology. We've always used technology and how we kind of progress from Radiohead using it to create their sound. And I think there's a time and a place to use technology in a creative way, but don't be lazy. We have to protect art and protect creativity. This is a really important time to figure out how we can use technology in the right way. You know, when LimeWire and Napster and everything, came out, that was the beginning of the end for a lot of things, because the way it was handled was not a good way. We're still paying for it. And also on the content side, people are realizing, oh, this is the same as the music issue. With AI, we have to figure out how to work with technology without losing our creativity. But we have to protect copyright. We have to protect art. We have to protect creativity. For my job, there's an art to it about how music bends with picture. On the studio side of things, being able to collaborate with your studio executives and your creators, there's a human element in storytelling. We have to protect not just jobs, but also humanity in a way, whether it's story, whether it's music, whether it's art. So I think figuring out a way to be objective instead of being like, no, I'm going to put my head in the sand like they did with streaming music back in the day, that actually started how the labels and publishers handle that back in the day. We're still paying for it. And now it's coming in a different way. Instead of saying no, 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 we need to figure out how to say it's not going anywhere. How do we work with it? Make art storytelling continues to exist, where it becomes a thing that humans no longer have a voice. Because whether you're on the studio side, you're on the music creator side, humanity cannot be replicated. You know, I teach and I've busted students using AI to create music, and you want to be a music creator, you can always tell, you know, we can always hear it. It's not at the point yet where you can get around it. It's pretty funny because they're like, I'm like, you did not do that. You know, I think there's a way to use it to answer your creativity, but you also have to protect yourself. So we need to figure out, how do we work together to continue the future?
I agree 100%. It can get dicey, and it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next upcoming years with it, especially when it comes to the intellectual property aspect of it.
Every day I'm going into work, we got strikes happening outside as a result. Started out with a heater, didn't we?
Oh,
yeah. I mean, that's how we roll, Brian. That's how we roll.
I know, right? Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I saw someone commented, I feel like I'm being talked down to. You're not. We're not here to talk down to anyone. We're here to help all of you guys. That's why we showed up today. That's why Jennifer's making time, Brian's making time. That is that negative perspective versus being open and remaining open to receiving that feedback.
By the way, when you share music or a script or story or a film with someone, you are being brave. You know, I think a lot of people, myself included, when you're so into your creative, you're so into it that there's things that you are missing. To have that outside perspective is so valuable. As I've gotten older, I've realized that value, how much it holds, where someone can either help you, or maybe they're just like a sounding board because you're stuck on a bridge writing. This is what I'm trying to do, and you're stuck, and then it turns into something magical and beautiful. I think a lot of people just get so like, I have to do everything by myself. Humanity is collaborative. That's why art exists.
Let's go to those musicians who are just starting out. What is your recommendation to get their songs noticed by anyone, whether it's a library, a sync agent? What percentage of music that you license do you pull from independent musicians versus that you pull from trusted sources like libraries or sync agents that you work with?
I work for Disney's in-house trailer team called The Hive. If there's a Disney property, there's a chance that we worked on it. And I say a chance because a lot of people don't know that on the trailer side, we have to compete to finish trailers. So usually when we're working on a campaign, it's us and more than likely a couple of other trailer houses that are also trying to finish that exact same teaser or trailer or whatever the case may be. It's different for us. There are times where we're working on projects and they only want to hear big, well-named artists. I mean, if you're working on a project like Indiana Jones, they only want to hear people that they know. There are some projects where we do get a chance to go after the indie artists. On our side, it's more often than not us working with either libraries or sync. The timeline is a lot different from the TV side or the film side. The needs are different because, again, the music is going to dictate whether or not we're able to move forward. I always recommend that people work with pitch companies and those types of folks because that's often where we end up going. If you're brand new, the best thing you can do is to just make what you like first. I think sometimes it becomes easy to get in and say, all right, what's the formula? If it's not what you like, don't make it. If you don't make trap, don't make trap. Make what you like and make what you know, and then go from there. Because after that, I think it's just a matter of like trickling things in that actually work and make things sync friendly.
So for me, I'm a sonic storyteller. Writers, directors, they hire me to bring their vision to life. As a sonic storyteller, the music has to fit the story. I have to honor someone else's vision. It's a very collaborative process. There has to be something behind it. What are your streaming numbers? Are you touring? Do you have a social media? Do you have all these things? Because I have to sell you up. But there has to be some sort of story for me to be able to tell my director, not only does the song work for their written story, but this person has a story behind them as well. And I think a lot of people don't realize, I don't care if you have 1,000 streams on Spotify, if you have no story because you're just sitting there going, I'm going to make music for film and TV, I can't use you. You have to understand with music and picture, I bring an audience to you that's going to help you build an audience for touring, for merchandise, for other opportunities, but also you bring something to my film. It's a very collaborative project. I hate the term making music for sync. I hate that term with a passion. It has to be something that you believe in. It's your voice. If you don't make a certain genre, don't do it. I don't care if the hottest thing out there right now, if that's not your voice, don't do it because it's inauthentic and I can't use it. And you have to make sure that it fits. So if you're starting out, find your voice, find your sound, hone in on your craft, build your audience, whether it's you're opening at like hotel cafe, you're building a fan base, you're building up your streams, you're building up your social media, like those things actually matter. I want to say 7, 8 years ago, it was all about the sync band. That's dead. We are gearing more back towards authentic voices over, oh my God, this has stupid hand claps and bells, right? Yeah, ads are one thing. They look for certain things, but for film and television, there needs to be some sort of story. There has to be some sort of thing here. You could be competing for the same spot as like a big artist, but both songs fit. If I'm working on a project that deals with a certain topic and maybe you wrote an entire album about that topic, those things are part of your story. Stay true to your voice. And by the way, there's no such thing as like making music for content. You could be an amazing alternative pop writer, right? You have great music, you have a big fan base, but everything content-wise is being made is in the country space. Well, you're not going to be making country music. That's not your voice in your art. Stay with your voice in your art and continue building. Sync is one source of revenue. It's not everything. And I think people put so much pressure just on that one source of revenue. It depends on what is my story, what is my budget, what is my schedule, and what is the voice I'm trying to say.
That's awesome.
Michael and I, obviously, we're mentors. We'd love to hear about your experience with mentors and how you think that applies for artists.
You know, I still have a mentor. I call her all the time and we have lunch. And I think people think mentorship is one way. She always says that I'm mentoring her as well. I think what makes a good mentorship is it's a collaborative relationship. Mentorship is important. I didn't really have a mentor coming up in this industry. I got one later in my career. The value of that is amazing, especially since my mentor is literally someone I've looked up to since like I was very young. I'm not allowed to say how old because she would get mad. It's about finding the right fit for mentorship. I think a lot of people are like, I want a mentor. I want a mentor. Well, why do you want a mentor? What are you looking for in a mentor? And what are you trying to do? You have to figure out what you're looking for and what you need mentorship in. Right now, maybe that's not something you need, but you want to get better. So you have to really think about that because it's a two-way street. And I've noticed in this day and age, people are like, I want a mentor, I want an internship, I want all these things. And it's very one-sided. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of energy. It has to work for both people. And here's the thing with mentorship, it's not 24/7. It's for particular things. It's such a push-pull thing. So I think mentorship is important, but you have to find the right mentor. And also your mentor will change as your career changes or as your needs change. And that's okay.
See, this is why I ask her to go first on these answers, because usually I can just come in and go, yes, I agree exactly with what Jen said. I think that it's very difficult when it comes to finding a mentor because so many people just go in it with this approach of like, yes, I need, because if I can just get a mentor, they're going to get me placements and they're going to help my stuff sound better or whatever. But I think ultimately it's an organic thing. Consider for a second that a lot of people that you're probably going to reach out to for mentorship have had that same request from so many other people. So just be patient and see how the relationship ends up developing between you and whoever it is that you're reaching out to or whoever it is that you're looking to work with. But I do think it is very important. I didn't really have a lot of mentors per se. I did eventually develop stronger relationships where I would just approach folks with these questions, but it was never like, hey man, can you be my mentor? I never really had that opportunity. And it's not to say that you shouldn't do that to people, but I do think that it really comes down to the relationship and it comes down to who it is that you're reaching out to, what they're willing to share and what they're willing to give with you. I hope that kind of makes sense. But yeah.
I think a lot of it comes down to when you put yourself in a community of professionals, there's that natural mentorship that's going to come from just the socialization, learning from someone else who's in the same business, not necessarily a mentor-student relationship, but it is cumulative.
I agree 1,000%. And it's something similar to what Imani mentioned earlier is we look at, I need to get to that person up there as opposed to the person who is kind of on the same level that you are. More like accountability partners. If you can find somebody who can, hey, did you get your mixes done? Or hey, did you work on this, these tracks or whatever the case? That might be a lot more beneficial in the short term, definitely, because it's easier to find people who are trying to accomplish the same goal. So don't look at it as I need someone on that high level. Use your network and the people that are around you and having these types of programs where you can meet other people who have the same kind of interests, et cetera. I think that's supremely important.
This is one thing I've noticed a lot about people. They're so stuck in their ways. If you're collaborating with someone or asking someone something, you're asking for a different point of view because something's not clicking and you can't figure out what's clicking. So maybe it's your music, like maybe your mix is off. You need to be open to when people have discussions with you, whether it's creative, whether it's career, instead of shutting them down. I have definitely heard people like ask for people's advice and then say you're wrong. If you're asking for mentorship, which is also pure mentorship, it doesn't have to be a super high level experienced person. It can be a peer mentorship. You have to be open to the good, the bad, and the ugly, even if it makes me extremely uncomfortable. That's how you grow. That's how you get better. That's how you progress. It's very uncomfortable, but you have to be open to listening. If you're not open to peer mentorship or any sort of mentorship or whatever, don't be wasting people's time. And that's not okay. Honestly, instead of complaining to all your friends, going to 60 people asking their opinion, be strategic. When you go to someone, especially with peer mentorship, you're going to that person because you're walking up to someone and saying, hey, I would love your opinion on this, right? Asking 60 people their opinion is not helpful. Going to people that are masters in their craft, that has value. If you find out someone's talking to 60 people about the same thing and ask my opinion, I wouldn't give them my time and energy because obviously they don't think I have value. You have to really respect each other. And that's something that I think a lot of people don't realize, that sometimes they're not respecting each other.
It's not a negative perspective of you. It's an honest position on how you can improve. Being able to play your music to another engineer or producer, you want to get that feedback. You want them to tell you your bass sounds like mush. So that way you can get back into the studio and figure out either what's going on in your room, or you can actually develop the skill set to actually make your bass punch through a mix and sound good. It's not a bad thing, but we all have things that we can always improve on. Critique, in my opinion, should be welcomed if it's given to you by someone who you trust and who genuinely is concerned for your well-being and wants to see you improve. And most mentors want to see you improve.
How about a round of applause for our guests, guys?
All right.
Hanging out so long with us on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Great to see you as always. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for
And,
having us.
everyone keep working at your craft, keep pushing, keep doing it, keep collaborating.
Never give
Don't give up.
If you would like to join a thriving community of elite sync professionals dedicated to ensuring each other's success in sync licensing, then Elite Music Coaching invites you to join Sync Titan.
That's right. And inside this community, you're going to have opportunities to connect directly with sync professionals like music supervisors, sync agents, and music library reps in our monthly virtual meetup and networking events. You're going to be able to get coaching directly from Jody and myself. We have listening sessions, and we also have meetups where you can connect with other collaborators all throughout the world.
Also, we post opportunities for you to submit your music to films, TV shows, trailers, commercials, video games, podcasts, web series, and more. As a Sync Titan member, you're also eligible to receive a Sync Titan award.
So make sure to click the link below or above or to the side or wherever it is on this channel so that you can learn more about Sync Titan and how you can become a valued member of this community.